Dire Sage deck with Domri Rod, Bonfires of the Damned, you know, very green base. You see Wolford Silverhearts, you see Thundermaw Hellkites against Andrew Snyder playing Barely Boros, a deck that we saw him top 8 in Atlanta with, actually in this room a couple months ago when Patrick Sullivan and I were doing coverage. He actually made top 4 with that deck.
Yeah, and it's a nice aggressive matchup. Stormcrypt Nova, Rakdos Cackler, similar to like the mono red decks that we've been seeing in the past. Tops out at 1 Thundermaw Hellkite, but he's got 4 copies of Hellrider. Does have Ash Zealot, Lightning Mauler, so typical red deck. Interesting to see what happens in this matchup.
Well, we're going to start it off with the Rakdos Cackler here for Snyder. Again, we're not sure if, I think this match has top 8 implications. You see Ross and Snyder, they start our 33-pointers. Hetrick also has 33 points. Joseph Bass has 33. Jerry Thompson, Wilson Hunter, and the 33s go all the way down here to 16th place. So the bottom 33s aren't going to be able to make it, but I see these top ones are going to be battling out for positioning here.
Yeah, Miriam Schneider probably have the best shot of, the winner of this have the best shot of making top 8, and I fully expect them to.
Yeah, so we'll see who does win this match as we see a Lightning Mauler pair up there with the Rakdos Cackler. Schneider's going to get the beatdowns going very early, and we're going to have to see if Ross and his green deck are going to be able to stabilize here. As you look for 2-drops in his deck right away, you see Gyre Sage, of course, Burning Tree Emissary, and Flint of Boar.
Yeah, Burning Tree Emissary is really important here because basically he needs to just get guys out there. Gyre Sage just isn't that good in this matchup because Andrew has cheap removal. He's got cards like Searing Spear. He does have Mizzy Mortars. Doesn't have Pillar of Flame main deck, but again, Andrew's deck is very aggressive, much more aggressive than Ross's deck. So it's one of those matchups where if Ross is able to stabilize and survive the early turns, his deck can probably power through because he has cards like Borkland, Ronak Major, and Wolford Silverheart, and Bonfire of the Damned. But again, he just needs to get to that point.
Yep. He needs to be able to convert those cards to actually cast them. As you see, he does take the damage from the Assault and the Mauler and everything else. He no interest in blocking. He's going to put Gyre Sage up to a 2-3 now because of Evolve. Now you're going to see an Arbor Elf as well. So now he's got some blockers, and now he's got some things in the way. And you saw that Schneider did miss his land drop. Yeah. So, you know, Ross is away from a card like a Hellrider. Schneider is a very far away from that.
And that's pretty important because Andrew's deck can usually do a lot of damage early on with the attackers, and cards like Hellraider are usually what bring him within range of cleaning things up. Because usually people are going to be able to stabilize with blockers or removal for that early threat, but Hellrider sort of is the card that allows you to push things over the top and make sure things get cleaned up. But again, stalled on 2 mana, and it looks like he doesn't even have white mana for that Boros Charm in his hand, so struggling a little bit here. And it looks like Ross might be able to start. Oh, wow.
Yep.
Huge card here. He's able to fight the Ash Zealot.
And Domri Raid is going to come down. You're going to see the fighting of this. You're going to see Arbor Elf let him play a Gyre Sage as well and pass the turn back. If you're Ross that last turn where you see a Spear on the Gyre Sage and just Andrew passing back, that's the biggest sigh of relief you could possibly have. As you're going to see Searing Spear take this out. Now he can actually start attacking here, but now you have to worry about Domri starting to get active.
Yeah, do you attack Domri here or do you just keep trying to go after the life? Trying to go after Ross. So looks like Gyre Sage is going to attack, block the Thundermaw Hellkite. Domri Raid survives, so it looks like Ross actually went. Andrew actually attacked Ross, didn't bother with the Domri Raid.
And now Domri's going to take up to 2. Ross is going to check on the top card. It is not anything useful, but you do see a Forest and a Thundermaw Hellkite in Miriam's hand as his last couple of cards. So the race could be on here as Thundermaw Hellkite can close out a game very quickly. But instead, he's going to play a little bit of defense. He's going to protect that Domri. He does have a Thundermaw Hellkite. There's no way for Rakdos Cackler to get through that. So now we're just going to see a Stromkirk Noble. We're going to see a Rakdos Cackler. That's going to get unleashed, and he's just going to pass the turn back. So Domri really trying to take this game over. And she's stomping ground at the draw. This is going to tick up. It's another brick.
Another brick. Very unfortunate here because obviously he still has a Thundermaw back for defense, but at only 8 life, we might be at the point where Schneider just says, forget it, I'm just going to attack all in. Still no 3rd land here.
You see 2 Boros Reckoners. You see a Hellrider and a Boros Charm in Schneider's hand. He's not able to get those on the table. Now, Osip, one thing to keep in mind here as well. Schneider doesn't know this, and we don't know what the top card of that deck is either off of Domri. The first thing you think of when they miss is it's probably a land. There are 4 copies of Bonfire of the Damned here in this deck.
Yes.
So that card could be Bonfire of the Damned, and if that is, you're going to see a huge change in this game as you see these creatures coming across here.
Either way, I love this attack here from Andrew. Trying to get, he's just trying to do as much damage as he can. Hopefully, he draws a 3rd land so that Boros Reckoner can come back down. And Boros Reckoner, regardless of Ross as a blocker, might be Boros Reckoner along with. Wow, you called it. Boros Reckoner along with Boros Charm might be able to still finish things off, but again, he needs to just draw that third land.
So now there's your Bonfire of the Dam. Ross is going to reveal Burning Chair Emissary, so he's finally going to get to draw a card off that Domri. Bonfire clears up, but more importantly here, Bonfire deals 5 points of damage. That's the most important part, as Schneider misses his land drop again and just has a Stromkirk Noble, because now the turns are cut in half. Ross is going to draw a card. He draws a Mountain. We'll see what he's going to do with Domri this turn. The Bonfire is huge there. It adds to the clock in such a big way. And now we're going to see a fight here with the Emissary, maybe. Okay, she's going to be the Dragon on the Noble. He's going to come across here for 5 more, and now there's no way for Schneider to get out of this. He's too far behind, and Ross is sitting at 6.
Doesn't have a way to deal with a 5/5 flyer. That Bonfire was huge because it effectively just halved Andrew's life total.
The killing of the Cackler is not that important. It's the fact that it deals the 5 damage upstairs. That's the big deal there. So Merriam is going to be up a game here at Green Red Stage, defeating Andrew Schneider and his barely Boros deck. And taking a look at Schneider's sideboard, outside of actually drawing lands, he really needed a third land that game.
Yeah.
And he actually does have a Plains in the sideboard, oddly enough. Not sure if that's going to come in here, but you see a lot of options in front of you.
Yeah, I actually still like Andrew in this game. Again, a little unfortunate that he got stalled on land and color screwed. I mean, he got hit on both sides there. Because even if one of those mountains is a Sacred Foundry, I still think he might be able to pull that game out.
Absolutely.
But again, he does have more options in his sideboard. He has 3 copies of Pillar Flame, which I expect would come in. He's got 2 more copies of Boros Charm, which again, that's more of an anti-control card to sort of prevent Supreme Verdict from really blowing you out. Not sure he wants to bring it in this matchup. 2 copies of Thundermaw. Might want to go upstairs again, and against a green deck in general. Cards like Thundermaw are really good. They're hard to answer. Volcanic Strength, though, that's really the card that I'm excited about, because this is one of those cards where, you know, Ross doesn't have a really good answer for like a 4/4 or a 5/5.
Nothing
you know?
clean. No.
So this is one of those cards where if Andrew had it in game 1, can easily just attack through all those blockers, doesn't care. So turn 1 Stormcloak Noble, turn 2 Volcanic Strength, and suddenly Andrew has like a really significant threat that just Ross can't block. So I really like the Volcanic Strength out of Andrew's sideboard.
And the first thing you think of with Volcanic Strength is you want to check the lands of Merriam's deck, see what kind of, see how many mountains, he's playing. You see 6 basic mountains and 4 stomping grounds, so plenty to walk over in that aspect. You take a look at his sideboard now, you see 4 Strangleroot guys, perfect for this matchup. Gets the block, buys him a lot of time. Again, there are no Pillar of Flames in the main deck of Schneider's deck, but you do see 3 in the sideboard, so those may come in. You see 3 Pillar of Flames for Ross as well. It's going to line up very nicely with the turns of the game, be able to kill a lot of the creatures all the way up and down the curve. You see 2 copies of Mizzium Mortars. If he's predicting Volcanic Strength is a thing that's going to occur, Mizzium Mortars can certainly come in. Probably not going to see an overload of that, but just trading 1 for 1 is certainly okay. Then you see cards like 2 Ground Seals, 2 Thundermaw Hellkites, a Cavern of Souls, and a Devil's Play. Those, Ground Seal obviously not going to come in here. Thundermaw Hellkite, I don't think he wants multiples of those. He has 2 of them to draw to, which we saw win game 1, but you don't want to get clogged with those and not be able to interact early. The Cavern, for a different matchup than Devil's Play, it has some flexibility. Do you need that flexibility for this matchup? That's a good question.
I actually like Devil's Play. It's just another removal spell. It's a way to deal with Lightning Mauler, potentially on turn 2. I don't like Thundermaw in his deck. I like it out of Andrew's deck because Andrew is probably going to be the more aggressive person, especially on the play. Maybe Ross wants to keep it in if he's on the play for game 3, if there is a game 3. But I think Thundermaw makes a lot more sense out of Andrew's deck in this matchup because I think Ross is going to be trying to be more of a controlling player. He's got Wolfare Silverheart, he's got Domri Raid, he's got Bonfire. He has a lot more removal spells than Andrew has. So I think Ross basically wants to spend his early games trying to control the board, use Strangleroot Geist as a blocker, use Mizzium Mortars and Pillar of Flames and cards like Devil's Play to sort of control the board, and then have cards like Wolfare Silverheart and Domri Raid sort of take control of the game.
Yeah, this game is all about role assessment, knowing who the control deck is and who the aggro deck is. It's very often Ross, with his deck, he is often the aggro deck in most of his matchups. In this matchup, this is not the case. And we saw him in that last game play pretty conservatively. You could have saw him get in with Thundermaw Hellkite and try to race on a clear board. Decided not to. He attacked with the Arbor Elf, held Thundermaw back. Obviously, Andrew can't attack through that, defending the Domri and let Domri take over the game. He's certainly the control deck in this matchup. He needs to play in Mulligan and sideboard as such to have success, and we saw him do that game 1.
Yeah. The only question is how important is Hellrider in this matchup? Maybe that's a card you want to take out. Maybe you just want to having cards like Thundermaw and Wolfare Silverheart sort of be your cleanups, so to speak. But it looks like Andrew starts out with a turn 2 Cliff Arbitrary, so he finally has access to white mana. and he has doesn't have a turn 1 drop though, which is actually very important for this deck.
Yeah, he chose to lead off with Clifftop Retreat and then play the Mountain, so we do see an Ash Zealot here. Now we're going to see a Burning Tree Emissary from Ross, and he's just going to play an Arbor Elf and pass it back. And one card that you see Schneider does have in his hand is Volcanic Strength, and you see a Burning Tree Emissary as well, so the old 1-2 punch here, and he's going to be able to get through for a lot of damage that is unblockable.
Yeah, and I believe Ross has a Bonfire of the Dam, which obviously isn't going to be able to deal with it by hardcasting. It looks like he has another red spell. Not sure if it's a Mizium Mortars or not. So, not sure he's going to be able to deal with the Ash Zealot this turn. He does have a Ghor-Clan Rampager and a Wolffair Silverheart, so he might actually become super aggressive right now if he goes turn 4 Rampager and has a 5th mana for the Silverheart.
Yeah, it's time to race.
Silverheart suddenly makes everyone the aggressor.
And now we're going to see Volcanic Strength here on the Ash Zealot again. So now it's a 6/6. It's going to put Ross down to 8. Now Ross is going to untap. He's going to draw. It's not a Bonfire.
It is. He does have the 5th land, though, so Silverheart can come down, and Rampager would be an 8/8 trampler if he chose to pair them. Although he might just choose to pair the Burning Tree Emissary and attack for 10 this turn.
You see Ross considering his options here. You know, the issue here, and obviously we're working with perfect information where Ross is not, is you see those Searing Spears over there for Andrew. So, you know, Ross is going to go through the motions here of trying to figure out what to do, and it's going to be rather anticlimactic as he shows Searing Spear right away, which is honestly what I want my opponent to do. As I'm going through what the Soulbind, he's like, man, bro, I got the spear. Let's just move on.
Do not slow roll me, please.
Yeah, if I'm dead, just let me know. And Schneider does that, so this is going to be evened up here. The big deal here is that Merriam is on the play for Game 3.
Yeah, that's huge. Obviously, now that he knows about, maybe he forgot about Volcanic Strength, maybe he wasn't expecting it. Either way, he knows what to expect now. Maybe he's going to try to be more aggressive this game, just because he's like, well, I can't just sit back. I have to worry about. He doesn't have really any. He doesn't have a lot of instant speed removal. It doesn't look like. He's got 3 Pillar Flames. It doesn't look like he has any. So he has Bonfire, Devil's Plague, Mizium Mortars, Pillar Flame. So no way to respond to a Volcanic Strength.
No blowouts.
So if Andrew's able to Volcanic Strength like a 3/3, he actually just doesn't have any removal spells for it that can 1-for-1. I mean, he would have to do a combination of like Pillar Flame, Mizium Mortar, something like that.
You know, a perfect Bonfire does exist, but he's going to be underneath so much pressure.
He's going to be under a lot of pressure.
Dami Rod also can, you know, a little bit of hijinks there, maybe pairing with the Wolffair Silverheart and fighting or something like that. The point is that he's going to have to go through a lot of work, as you said, to get a huge creature off the table if it has more than 4 toughness. And again, even if it does have 4 toughness, there are only 2 mortars in his deck.
Yeah.
So getting a 4 toughness creature off the table is not easy at all.
Yeah, and the other card that's really, really good in this matchup is Boros Reckoner. And we see Andrew have it in his hand, but he never seems to get the 3 mana to actually be able to cast it. So that's another huge card because, you know, again, Ross has these cards like Wolffair Silverheart. Boros Reckoner is amazing at blocking the Wolffair Silverheart. You know, and especially in these games, it gets to the point where Andrew's able to get Ross so low that he wouldn't even be able to attack with a Silverhearted creature, you know, short of something like a Ghor-Clan Rampager, which has trample, it could trample over. So, again, really, really a lot of good cards that Andrew has in this matchup, but he's been stalled on 2 mana, so they've been relatively close. If Andrew didn't have that second Volcanic Strength, it's a whole other ball game. So let's see if Andrew's able to actually get the 3 mana this game and start doing the things that he wants to be doing in this matchup.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, you know. If we talked about Wolffair Silverheart around Pro Tour Montreal, where Boros Reckoner was all the rage, you get laughed out of the building. What are you thinking playing that card? Now, because Reckoner's at like an all-time low right now, you know, Ross's deck is very unique. We haven't seen anything like this all weekend. You normally see a very hyper-aggressive green red strategy, you know, a little bit bigger. But I mean, Silverheart might be something that's reasonable now, whereas, you know, a month and a half ago, there's no way you could do that. But people aren't really playing Boros Reckoner right now. However, Andrew is, and so it's going to make, you know, Silverheart a little bit worse. And we did see Silverheart in Ross's hand that game. You know, maybe you're supposed to board those out and board in a bunch of Thundermaw Hellkites so you can go over the top, not have to worry about those Reckoners. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, honestly, I really like being able to go Ghor-Clan Rampager and then Silverheart, because that is effectively a 2-turn clock. They're going to die very soon. So
you see an Arbor Elf and just a Clifftop Retreat. If you're Ross, you got to be happy about no 1-drop, as he does draw a Pillar Frame. You see a Mizium Mortars in his hand. You see a Ghor-Clan Rampager. I think a Burning Tree Emissary as well.
What a great start from Ross here. He's got turn 2 Gyre Sage, and he's going to be able to go turn 3 Burning Tree Emissary and either Mizium Mortars, or if he draws a 4th. Oh well, so. Andrew did have a removal spell, but still, he's be able to go if he draws a 4th land here, which he doesn't, but still. attack for 1 here, Burning Tree Emissary. He has Museum Mortars. He has a couple of 4/4s now, which are good threats in this matchup because they're out of Searing Spear range. Museum Mortars is one of the few cards that can deal with it.
This is a tough situation. You see a bunch of Clifftop trees. You see a Burning Tree Emissary here for Schneider, and now you see a Pillar Flame take care of this Arbor Elf. So Frost does draw the land that turn. Wildly different game. He draws the land this turn. There's your Forest. There's your Pillar Flame to take care of the Emissary. Ross is going to come across here, but again, he needed that land last turn, and now he needs to draw another one here to be able to get in front of this game.
And I don't think Andrew's in that bad shape. He's got a Volcanic Strength, and he also has Stormcrook Noble too. So, and there's an Ash Zealot.
So we are going to see an Ash Zealot here off of that Burning Tree Emissary and that Clifftop Retreat. Ross is going to draw a card. It is Pillar Flame.
Another Pillar Flame.
It is not Bonfire of the Damned.
So a Museum Mortars, Pillar Flame, and double Gore-Clan Rampagers here.
We're going to see a trade here. We're going to see Pillar Flame take care of the Ash Zealot. Ross doing a nice job of keeping the board empty, keeping his life total high until he can get to those Rampagers, as he has 2 of those and a Mortars in his hand to protect himself. Volcanic Strength.
So let's see if Boros Reckoner can make an appearance finally.
We see a draw step here. We see a Stormcrook Noble. Is he going to suit it up?
Yes.
Yes, he is. So, Mortar's a perfect card right now, but he draws a Mountain.
So, I think you have to Mortars.
I think you have to Mortars. You can't get greedy.
You can't get greedy. You can't risk double Volcanic Strength.
And now we see a draw here. Okay. He does has to turn back. He draws a Mountain. You see a Volcanic Strength in his hand. Ross, green light is on. Here's a Gore-Clan Rampager, and now it's time for him to turn the corner, as we've seen so many times this weekend. Schneider drawing lands this game, finally. In comes the Rampager. We're going to see a second 4/4. There, that is. You see him play his land because if he does draw a Bonfire, you want it for the maximum amount. As Schneider is going to draw another Mountain. Okay.
Museum Mortars suddenly makes things a lot more interesting.
So now that changes things. And now you see.
This is tough.
This is really tough because now he's thinking to himself, if I draw a land, that sucks, but I can kill both things.
I like that play a lot. Again, I've always said it, hope is not a strategy. He only has 22 lands in his deck. You can't hope to try to draw. You're not that far behind because even if you draw, I was going to say, if you draw a 1-drop, it suddenly can be big enough with double Volcanic Strength where it can block your guy anyway. So.
Yeah, and he doesn't unleash the Cackler. It's on blocking
it's a
duty.
Blocker.
That's a 5/5. That's a Wolfir Silverheart.
Hello, ladies.
I'm going to the top, it says Ross Merriam.
Do you believe in miracles?
So Ross Merriam with a Wolfir Silverheart off the top. Beats Andrew Schneider playing Fairly Boros. What a draw step.
What a draw step. Pounded his way into this top 8.
Wow.
Pounded his way.
My goodness.
And,
that was back and forth. That game was changing.
And well, the thing was, Andrew was obviously backpedaling the whole time.
Of course.
But yeah, I think, and Andrew had a tough decision there. A lot of players might have said, you know what, maybe I'm too far behind. Maybe I have to hope to just draw a 6 land here so I can overload and deal with both those creatures. I like the play that he went for it though, because again, double Volcanic Strength. I have 1-drops in my deck. You know, if I draw a 1-drop, suddenly it's my guys are a 5/5. Even if I draw an Ash Zealot, I can put a Volcanic Strength on it, and I have a 4/4 first striker.
Yeah, that
so I can deal with the